Okay, well, let's get started. I'm so happy to see all of you this morning. I did wake up a little bit exhausted from a long weekend, and therefore, the theme of today's class. I'm really glad it's gentle yoga, and I hope you are as well. I'm just thinking about the quote, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing well. How many times did you hear that growing up, probably from teachers, adults, parents in your life? And I heard it a lot. And, I grew up thinking that I always have to perform and be accomplishing something. I've got to be checking a box. I've got to be doing something right and well and even perfect. Maybe some of you have perfectionist tendencies. So I'm just reflecting that, you really cannot do yoga well. In the trying to do yoga well, you ruin your yoga. In the trying to perform and perfect the postures and accomplish the next thing, all that striving really takes us away from what yoga promises to offer us, which is just inner peace and wellness. So today, as we take to our mats, I'm going to just I'll be asking you and reminding you through the class to notice. Notice when you're being judgmental of yourself. Notice when you're being critical of your body's ability to do something well or not. When you evaluate your practice or when you're reactive, I want you to just notice those tendencies. And in this practice, we'll try to cultivate something a little more gentle and self-accepting. So take to your mat, find your comfortable seat, whatever that is for you, on a cushion or a chair. Scott's, okay, here we go. Ground yourself down to this seat. And for me, that always means reaching down there and moving the flesh and getting right on top of the sitting bones. When you're ready, close your eyes or shift your eyes down so your attention arrives here. And then just start to notice your breath. This is familiar. We do this every time we arrive here. We sit, we notice, and we start to breathe. And for me, it's always a challenge. My mind is always pulled somewhere else. So give yourself permission for this hour to be right where you are, this 6 foot by 2 foot island oasis called yoga mat. Honor that you showed up here today. Draw your shoulders up to your ears. Give a tight squeeze of those muscles around your neck. Press your shoulder blades back, really, really squeeze so you can feel your chest opening, and then softly melt your shoulders down. Do that again. Inhale, squeeze as tight as you can up at the top. Draw your shoulder blades behind you, the chest, the heart presses forward, and the shoulders melt down. Let's do that one more time, up, back, and down. Begin to stretch your neck, just dropping one ear to one shoulder and making easy, soft circles. You can do half or full circles. Just take really good care of your neck as you move. No hard edges today. A mantra for this practice: look and see, let go, and be free. Look and see, let go, and be free. Reach your fingertips down to your sides, palms turn up, and inhale, fingertips up high. Notice the tendency to want more here, to strive, to really reach with effort. And I'd like you to just soften that about 10%. So instead of reaching, just have arms up. Lower the left hand and let the right arm reach over. And again, notice striving, because there is some satisfaction in those edges. There is some accomplishment. But I'd like us to experience today 10% back away from that really sensational edge. Aware of the softness that's just inside of our striving. Aware that breath can move more freely into soft spaces than hard spaces. Switch sides. And maybe you need to go to that hard striving edge first to find out what's just less of that. Maybe you can find soft edge without the striving at all. I'll say it again, breath moves more easily into soft spaces than the spaces that are hard because of our striving. Release your fingertips to the floor. And we're going to come into child's pose. And I'm going to ask you today, if you have props nearby, to have a pillow, a soft blanket nearby. I hope you always bring with you a block and a strap. Those are always really handy. I'm going to take a rolled up blanket and place it behind my knees. And I request that we all do something like this, like just sit our hips back on a blanket or a pillow, even if you don't, quote, need that assist. Just try it for today. Try taking a softer approach. The knees come wide, the arms extend, and you could place a block or a pillow under your forehead. So literally holding ourselves out of this pose by using props, not going all the way to the edge. And in this supported version of child's pose, take deeper breaths. You might notice today, as we're practicing in a softer way, that you're more easily distracted, that your mind has a tendency to wander. These soft edges don't hold our attention as much as hard edges, which is why sometimes we push ourselves there. So let that be your practice today, noticing when you're pushing, when you're distracted, and come back to a soft edge. Notice where in your body you are feeling softness, space. Where in your body you notice breath moving. With your next exhale, release to a tabletop position. You can set aside the props here. Stack your joints, stack your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips, and we'll start to move into cow pose. And I'd like you to, again, to find a soft version, like a baby calf. So lift your tailbone just a little, drop your belly a little, drag your heart forward a little, and lift your chin just about halfway. Notice if there's any tension in your back and just decrease the angle a bit. Breathe here in this soft version of cow. And then reverse, slowly tuck the tailbone, not all the way, just a little, round your back. Open your shoulder blades, let your head hang softly. And experience this soft version of cat. Finding a gentleness here, like a soft breeze blowing through your body, So now let's move back and forth between those two soft edges. Noticing the tendency to go all the way forward into that hard edge and just staying inside of that. Breath moves more easily to the soft spaces. Let this practice feel like a gentle caress, a loving touch, a reminder of kindness to your body. Finding a neutral position, tuck the toes under. We're going to lift into downward facing dog, and I ask you to go there with really bent knees. Pressing into your hands for stability and then lifting up away from your wrists. Keep your knees bent. Breathe and notice this pose without a big hamstring stretch. Start to press one heel down, just easing into the back of that leg. Return to bent and switch. Moving slowly, listening to our bodies. Noticing what happens when we're more in an invitation type of practice versus a demand type of practice. You might notice with this softness that you're even finding more flexibility. Gently come up onto both toes, bend your knees, and let your heels drop to the earth. And we'll slowly walk our feet to meet our hands, walking with awareness. Let's bring our block or a firm pillow right in front of us. And just let your hands rest on the block, bringing the floor a little closer to your hands. The knees are bent so the belly and the ribs rest on the thighs. Dangle your neck here, yes and no. Breathing again into a softer version of a forward fold. There's no way to do this pose well or right. We're just doing this pose to be well. See if that holds any difference for you. We're going to start to move slowly with our breath here, rocking forward and back in our feet, toes lifting, heels lifting. And then on flat feet, let's raise up to a flat back and just give your back a chance to find its strength here. And I'm going to keep all of my fingers on this block. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider. So feet coming almost to the outside edges of the mat. Put a bend in your right knee. Bring your left hand to your low back and just open your shoulders to the left. Just a little tiny, tiny twist. Come back to center. Bend the left knee, the right hand on the low back. And as we roll back and forth with that, we're just listening to the body. Our body speaks to us in the language of sensation. And when the body says stop, we're very wise to listen. Notice those places where your body is asking you to slow down or avoid. One more time, both ways. And then back in the center, we'll put a big bend in our knees. Hands come to the thighs and lift into what might feel like chair pose, but you're supported here on your legs. And let's again do that softer version of cat and cow. So tucking the tailbone, finding a soft round spine, and then arching the back into a soft version of cow. We're just exploring. For me, a softer practice like this helps me work on things like patience and humility. Realizing that just because I can do something, maybe that's not what I need all the time. Go ahead and tuck one more time and arch. And then we'll find a neutral spine rising up into our mountain pose. Roll the shoulders again a couple of times. Feel a soft circle through the shoulders. Good, and then reach the arms up front. Let the arms make bigger circles. Moving with your breath. Inhale as you open, exhale as the arms close. Turning the toes out, let's create a little bigger movement. Sunflowers, reaching high and just softly squatting low. Fill your body with breath each time you reach up. Stay slow and gentle. Next time those arms reach high, let yourself expand in all directions. And then let's turn the palms up, thumbs to the back wall, chest forward. Breathe here in this open, expansive, soft shape. Let your hands come to your hips, your lower back. Heel toe your feet a little closer together. Pressing down on the glutes, come into the most gentle, heart-opening back bend you can find. Again, notice the tendency to go to that farthest edge. Stay inside of that. Let go of performance or accomplishment and just feel what this pose has to offer. Return to center. Wrap your arms around like you're giving yourself a nice hug. Chin to chest, elbows down. So the opposite, a standing upper body fold. Just notice that opening in that space in the upper back. And let's just see what happens as we move back and forth between those two shapes. So placing the hands on the hips and coming into a soft back bend. And then giving ourselves a hug and drawing the shoulders forward. Moving at the pace of your breath, these two shapes. You might alternate which arm goes over as you come forward. And let's do that 2 more times. Find a whisper breath as you're moving, that ujjayi breath. Return to neutral, bring your hands to your hips, take a soft bend in your knees, and let's hinge our bodies forward. Finding that block again, Putting a generous bend in the knees and coming down into a forward fold. In your forward fold, you have choices. You can stay right here with your hands on your block, playing with a little more bending and straightening of the legs. It also might feel good to walk your fingers to the outsides of your feet, back and forth. Take a moment to explore forward fold in your body in a soft way. Staying aware of your breath and the relationship your breath has with your body. And then with the hands either on the block or fingertips on the floor, shift your weight so that you're stepping on your right foot and just take your left foot back behind you. Come into a lunge. Notice that hip flexor. Notice the strength required to be here in this low lunge. And let's switch. Place your weight on your left foot. Step your right foot back. Just find a soft, low lunge. And again, coming to forward fold. Step your feet back into downward facing dog. And just see if this second round of downward facing dog feels any softer, any different than the first. We'll take a deep breath in, come up onto the tippy toes, put a bend in the knees, let the knees come close to the floor. Inhale, lift your hips high, and exhale, reach the heels down. Let's do that 3 more times. Toes, knees, hips, and heels. Staying in these soft edges of our breath. And let's shift forward into plank pose, dropping the right knee to the earth. Push into the earth with your hands and then kick your right foot back. Let's open the left arm up overhead. Come into this kneeling side plank. Move with your breath as you start to circle your arm across your face and around. Soft circles, staying inside the hard edges. One more nice big circle around and return to the center. On all fours, a kneeling plank. Kick the left knee off, open up to the right. And then moving with your breath. Soft edges. This practice helps us leave our mat with less reactivity, less judgment, less self-criticism, more acceptance and awareness. Returning that hand to the earth, knees to the ground, a kneeling plank. Press back to child's pose. You can take your knees wide if you like. Shifting the hips from side to side. Feeling and breathing. On the next inhale, coming forward once again to a kneeling plank. Kick the right foot off, open up left arm again. And now we'll start to take lateral movement of the spine. So on the inhale, using the muscles of the core, come up to a T and over your extended leg for gate pose. Notice again any tendency to strive and reach and brace. Stay inside that hard edge. Breath, awareness, acceptance. Return to the earth. Find that kneeling plank and switch sides. The left foot kicks off, the right arm opens. And as you plant that foot, go ahead and come up to your T and over into gate. Soft edge. Breath moves more easily into the soft spaces. You might notice if your teeth are clenched or your jaw feels tight. Softness in the face can translate to the rest of the body. Return. We're going to take a kneeling plank and let's take our blocks right underneath our chest. And let's play with the idea of even yogi push-ups having a soft edge. So we'll spin the elbows forward, we'll bring the torso forward and just lower down until you touch that block and press up with a softness. Nice and easy. Moving with your breath. We'll do 2 more of these soft, easy. You can even remain soft edge when you're shaking. And gently come back to child's pose. Deep, slow breaths. Big exhales. And let's move the block out of the way, shifting all the way forward and down onto the ground. For some gentle back bending, back strengthening postures. So let's begin here in Cobra. Hands by the shoulders, legs close together, toes pointed back. Inhale to find a soft edge here. The back is doing the work. The hands are very, very light on the mat. Elbows behind us, heart reaching forward. Close your eyes and feel soft strength. Glide your fingers forward, come onto your forearms for Sphinx Pose. And in Sphinx Pose, the elbows pull back, the heart pulls forward. So there's a little bit of opposition here. It's like you're trying to scoot your body forward on your mat. Notice too much striving. Notice hard edges. Take another deep breath in and slowly release to the floor. Turn one of your cheeks to the side and just wiggle out your hips. Release any tension in your low back. And then bring all of your fingertips to the floor, like you've got tennis balls under your fingers and they're off the edge of the mat. Take your feet a little wider, touch your toes to the outside edges of your mat, and slowly inhale just a little bit higher than your Cobra. Exhale, flow back down. Chin or forehead touches the mat, and come up again. And then let your hands come to your shoulders. Feet come closer together, press up again to a tabletop position and back to child's pose. We're going to thread the needle here. So take your right arm and just scoop it underneath you. You can widen up your knees. The back of the right shoulder comes to the floor. You can use your left hand to very gently press a little bit more onto the back of that shoulder. And then let's let the breath do the work of this pose. Let's let the breath come right back into those shoulder blades. Breath moves into soft spaces more easily than hard spaces. Gently lifting and switching sides. Let the left arm come through. A little weight on the back of your left shoulder. Using your hand to help you find the perfect place. And ease yourself back to center. Come to tabletop. Reach your hands forward a little bit more. Let's return to downward facing dog. Noticing again if anything has changed, opened, softened. For a lot of us, as we age, it gets harder to make the transitions in yoga, especially this vinyasa style. So we're going to try a little soft exercise here. I want you to bend your knees, and we're just going to take a walk, feet to hands, and then return back where you were. Walk your feet back. So just playing with that transition. We're always in such a hurry to get our feet to the top of the mat, but what happens when you give yourself permission to just walk slowly, to be aware of each footstep forward and back, and the impact it has on the shape of the body? Go again, walk forward. Just take a little walk on your mat. We'll come forward one more time. And press your hands to your shins. Find that flat back. Core is strong. Let your arms come to your sides like airplane. And let's move with breath. Squat low. Rise high, soft edges. Do that again. Lower, bring your arms back like airplane. The knees can be bent. Noticing now we're moving all of our joints in this big movement. Everything's warm, soft, loosened up. Do that 2 more times. The next time your arms are up high, reach for the ceiling. Again, noticing any striving. And we'll take a side bend here. Take a hold of one wrist and stretch up and over. Staying inside of the hard edges. And sometimes, again, you might have to find that in order to come inside of it. Deep breaths, self-care. Come back to center and switch. And hands together, bring your hands right in front of your heart and sit softly into a chair. Taking a twist to the right side. So the left arm comes to the knee and we slowly open so the right hand comes to the low back. Breathing here. Finding softness here. Return your hands to heart center, straighten your legs, take a deep breath in. Exhale, have a seat, twist to the left, right arm across, left arm behind. Open and breathe. Maybe now your breath is slower and deeper. Got more space to move into. Come back to center. Upright. Turn now to the wide edge of your mat and take your feet wider. Again, we're looking for softness here. Hands at the mat, hands at the hips, hinging forward, soften the knees, let yourself come down. And you could place your hands on a block if you'd like the floor a little closer to you. Depending on the length of your limbs and the width of your stance, maybe even head on a block. Just let yourself be here for a few breaths. You're welcome to bend and straighten your knees or just be here with softness. Notice what's unfolding, releasing. Look and see, let go, and be free. Let's release to a flat back. Bring your block with you toward the front of the mat as we turn to a lunge. We're going to drop the back knee. Just finding a hip flexor stretch here. This is where it's really easy to go to hard edge. We want so much to stretch these hip flexors. See if you can just trust that our muscles respond better to softness than force. So see what happens if you don't go all the way to that hard edge that you know you can go to. We'll place our left hand on a block, right hand on the knee, lift and lengthen into a gentle twist. Returning to the center. Keep your weight on that block and just shift your legs. Left foot comes forward. Find a kneeling lunge. Looking for a soft edge. Deep breaths. Lots of awareness. Right hand on the block, left hand on the knee, open into a gentle twist. Let oxygen flow through all parts of your body, here and now. accepting, gentle, kind to your body. And then let's return to center. Go ahead and bring both knees underneath you. We're going to come around to a seat. And for today, I invite you to sit on the edge of a soft blanket or some kind of a bolster, and we'll use a strap for this. So we'll start in Dandasana. And one of the reasons for being on a bolster or blanket is to elevate our hips. So if you have tightness or roundness in your low back, getting up on this bolster is going to help you have a more neutral spine. And then if we kind of walk forward to where it almost feels like we're going to spill our hips off the edge of this blanket, you're going to find a nice anterior tilt of your pelvis, which again gives you more space in your low back. We'll take our strap and we'll just loop it around the bottom of our feet. And then let's stay in this upright Dandasana position. So just using a little bit of strength on the band to pull the torso forward, but not down. If this feels sharp, edgy, or painful, bend your knees. You could even roll up something under your knees if that feels good to you. But just pulling the chest forward without a lot of striving, just an easy, soft reach. Shoulders are relaxed, breath is flowing freely. Come up to a straight spine. Release the feet. Point your toes down in front of you. So stretch the front of your ankles. Let your fingertips come behind you and open up through the chest. Kind of reach opposite directions. Big toes toward the floor. Fingertips behind you. If you'd like to come into incline plank, you could flatten your hands and lift your hips. That's a challenging pose, so go there with softness. And release your hands. Wiggle yourself off of your blanket. Let's bend the knees and we'll lower down onto our back. And then draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice little squeeze right here. Move side to side. Explore. Experience. And then planting our feet, having a block nearby, let's come into supported bridge. So we're going to lift the hips and slide a block right under our hips, right under your glutes. You want it down close to your tailbone. And then here the arms just rest, palms up. You can take them out a little wider if you want. Get your shoulder blades on the floor. Breathe, receiving the benefits of this posture without the effort. With this support, it's possible to straighten your legs and get a little more length across the hip flexors. You can see if that feels like a soft edge to you. And if not, keep your knees bent. Deepen your breath. Breath moves more easily into the soft spaces. Notice the soft space of your belly. Let breath move into that softness. And let that softness travel into your hip flexors. See if you can feel that same sensation of ease, of softness. Let the softness travel up into your shoulders, your neck, your face. Take one more deep breath into your whole body. As you exhale, press gently into your feet, let the block come out, and then slowly move your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug, a little bit of movement. Hold the right knee into the chest, let the left leg fall down to the mat. Give a soft squeeze at your right hip, and you might kind of pump that knee in and out a bit. Squeeze in and release a few times. And then slowly extend that leg up. Find the soft edge of a hamstring stretch. Point and flex your foot. Circle your ankle. Bend the knee. Extend the leg onto the floor and switch. Left knee comes in, nice soft stretch, pumping that knee in and out. Feeling, receiving, experiencing, being in your body. Slowly straighten the leg. Flex and point and circle the ankle. Find your soft edge. And then one more time, bring both knees into your chest. Draw your chin forward. Curl yourself into a tight little ball, a tight, soft little ball. And then inhale, extend the arms out long, the legs out long. Take a hold of one wrist, stretch your body almost like you're yawning when you first wake up, and then switch. Let your arms come straight up to the ceiling and then lower down at your sides. Palms roll up, arms widen, feet come out a little wider. Roll your feet in and out a few times and just feel that loosening at the hips. And then let your feet relax. Let's take a huge breath in and then exhale into Shavasana. And as you begin your relaxation, just start to scan your body for any places where there is still tension or tightness. And let your breath help you soften those spaces. Breath moves more easily into the soft spaces. So let's find a few more of those. Happiness cannot be found through great effort and willpower, but is already there in relaxation and letting go. Don't strain yourself. There's nothing to do. Only our search for happiness prevents us from seeing it. Don't believe in the reality of good and bad experiences. They are like rainbows. Wanting to grasp the ungraspable, you exhaust yourself in vain. As soon as you relax this grasping, space is there, open, inviting, and comfortable. So make use of it. All is yours already. Don't search any further. Nothing to do, nothing to force, nothing to want, and everything happens by itself. My friends, receive a deep, slow, sweet breath into your whole body. And as you exhale softly, start to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Take your time on your journey back to a seat. When you arrive at your seat, let's just all bring our hands together in this gesture of gratitude. Take a moment to reflect back on this practice and the awareness, the noticing, an opportunity to practice compassion for yourself in those times when you are judgmental, critical, you're hard on yourself. As we move forward into this day, may we all walk a little more softly around our own hearts and each other's. Namaste.